from Channel 10.
Today's episode of Channel 10 Podcast is brought to you by channel10podcast.com. When you go to channel10podcast.com, you can check out our back catalog of great episodes, and you can also help support the show by clicking the store link and purchasing some Channel 10 Podcast merchandise. With that, let's start the show.
We used to be like CNN, Channel 10. And we used to think that people would catch on. But if you're not from Queens, if you don't got Time Warner or whatever, like, well, I didn't know that.
Do it, yo. Yo, word up, man. It's a different channel, son. Word up, hold on, man. Word up, watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man.
It's all good.
Word up, all good, baby, in every hood, son. Word up, yo.
CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas is grown men. Bold face, gather your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cast more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas that's grown men. Bold face, gather your face. Stay in place, yo.
Call is now being recorded.
Yo, we're back once again. The Almighty AR in the building alongside
Single Superior.
This is the Channel 10 Podcast, and we are on the eve of the final State of the Union address by our black president, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And, we were just sitting around kicking it, and we just watched this Kendrick Lamar video, Pay It Forward. You know, he just had the private meeting with Obama, and we were just sitting here, and it occurred to me that, as he leaves the White House, just the impact that he's made on hip-hop has actually been kind of tremendous,
Yeah.
And, it's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward when we get a new president in office, how all that's going to change, like our access. Say what you want about Obama, but it seems like the black community has had, and the hip-hop community has had certain access into the White House that they've never had before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But I've always, just thinking about this now. It's something that Obama kind of had to do. I mean, we can look into different hip hop artists that he's quoted. Like people like Kendrick going into the White House, and we can even look into Obama and how he'll make. How he sang that Al Green song.
Oh yeah.
Or he cried when, who was it that was singing Aretha Franklin recently at the Kennedy's honors?
Yeah, the lady who wrote the song.
Okay. Yeah, so doing these really calculated moves in an effort to let the African American community know, to let us know that he's black.
Now, do you think that it's calculated in like a conniving way, or calculated in like a subversive way? Like, yeah, I'm doing what I have to do as president, but niggas, I got you. I'm with y'all.
I think it's pretty conniving. I mean, I'm really cynical about this anyway, so.
I know just from my experience in the corporate world, sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and it might be against, what you really believe in your heart, or how you might really feel about a certain situation. At the end of the day, sometimes when you're dealing with a certain client or something like that, who's trying to get something out of you, and legally or procedural wise, you can't do it through your job. But at the end of the day, if it's somebody who comes from the same walk of life as you be like, look, brother, it's all I can do. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that's Obama's approach.
I mean, maybe, but then I think that, with him embracing the hip-hop community, he's also embracing, a very large voting block.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is something that he really does with data and everything. Like, who knows when, the Jeezy song, My President is Black, came out.
Yeah, I don't know, I remember where I was that night when he first got elected. I was in the streets of D.C. and... Mm-hmm. At Howard University, and I remember cars pulling up, just blasting My President is Black. And I always tell this story I was just walking up some street and a random car just pulls up blasting my president is black, and a nigga pops out with a champagne bottle like, your president is black, nigga, drink this. And I just took it to the head right there in the middle of the street.
Oh man.
And then, you know, years later, this was like what, last year, when Obama had a Jeezy quote at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And then Jeezy actually said he was initially invited to it, but then they were like, nah, they had to rescind that. But Jeezy was like, you know, I understand.
I mean, yeah, and you know, we know about you know, Obama's, you know, data infrastructure that he's been working on for like the past almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And looking at the way everything is becoming like really data driven, I am pretty sure that they probably looked at the album sales of that Jeezy album, that one single. They probably, you know, cross-referenced probably other possible songs that probably talked about Obama being black, and they probably figured out the demography of the people who were listening to it, and they said that, all right, you gotta talk to these niggas now.
But that's still dangerous because niggas, you know, traditionally don't come out to vote, and that's why they're not catered to. So it's kind of and like, you know, he did it. He was able to mobilize the vote through hip hop. You know, people like Diddy and Jay-Z and Jeezy, they were influential in getting niggas out to vote, and, you know, letting you know exactly, you know, what your voting capabilities may be if you were a felon due to you know, these restrictive drug laws that are targeted at the black community, which is another issue. But
yeah,
you know, letting people know that you can go out and vote and do this, you know, I guess politically wise, it's kind of risky. I mean, from our standpoint, it seems like, you know, it's like a no-brainer. But somebody, you know, political wise, it's like, yeah, you could do this, but they're not going to vote for you anyway because they're not even going to vote. Mm-hmm. So, and, you know, I think he takes pride in getting, you know, quote unquote niggas to vote. Because you look at somebody like a Ben Carson, you know, he's not going to target that audience. He doesn't care about that vote or anything like that. So,
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, hey, look, man, my mother thinks he's a prophet. And there's something that, you know, that must be said for a man who can bring niggas together.
Yeah,
for real.
True.
But, you know, also, there was also like kind of like a black voting infrastructure in place too, because, you know, remember before Obama started, before he was a senator, well, maybe he was a senator, we had the Vote or Die campaign.
Right, yeah.
And now I'm thinking about it, I wonder if it was like a whole big ploy to try to get niggas to start thinking about voting for Obama.
I mean, now that you mention it, Common had that one line, what was it, on B or Find It Forever, where Common said something about, and it was like way before he's had any type of presidential aspiration, supposedly.
Yeah.
When he was like a super junior senator, and he said something about Obama in one of his songs. I gotta find the lyric because Common mentioned it before, and it's crazy how that came into fruition. You know, magically. I guess the cynic would be like, this was all a ploy, you know, from the beginning. I'm gonna find that line, but I don't know. Like, it's just really interesting too, like how he's used rappers like Jay-Z, like how we were just talking about that whole controversy when Jay-Z and Beyonce went to Cuba, and I was reading something somewhere, and it said that, you know, Jay-Z was most likely used by the Foreign Service in order to make diplomatic relations with Cuba so they could do this whole thing that they're doing now in terms of lifting the embargo. Mm-hmm. And they're saying the same thing too about Dennis Rodman in North Korea, about how he was probably an agent for the White House to go and try to do some type of thing in between that. But
yeah, but why? I was going to say, but why Dennis Rodman? But apparently he was already friends with the guy.
Yeah. I mean, you have to use the resources that you have available.
I mean, you know, it's kind of funny though, because, you know, people still know who Dennis Rodman is, it seems.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Dennis Rodman was the crazy dude who played with Jordan on the iconic Bulls team. So,
Yeah. But yeah, going back to Obama though, it has been said that he always had these presidential aspirations, even before he became a senator. Too. So I think that's something that that has to be said, and he wrote these books for a reason.
Yeah, I don't know. It was it's kind of interesting because how can you plot the course? I mean, the first African American president, he was a senator for what, like 2 years? Mm-hmm. Like, it's some very unheard of type stuff to be able to plot and chart. And maybe you have to have that type of, I guess, ridiculousness, some type of ridiculous belief in yourself to even make it to that level, to even, do that. But it's just crazy to have that amount of foresight.
Yeah. Well, he's also a good speaker too.
Is he really? I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, he has his moments, but like, he'll get upstaged by Bill Clinton.
What about a Reagan?
See, I haven't seen very many of Reagan's speeches, and I guess because Reagan, watching Narcos and seeing like little clips of Reagan, I can see how people can get behind Reagan because he's talking that shit that they want to hear. And he's like presenting the image that they want. And Obama is kind of different because, like, even though he's able to mobilize niggas, he's visibly not them. So it's like, for him to be able to gain trust, even being black, it takes more than that just to gain somebody's trust. I mean, look at Ben Carson and look at what's the dude with the 999 playing?
Oh, my man Herman Cain.
And look at even Al Sharpton, who's a polarizing figure in the black community. So it takes a lot to be a black person and still, I guess, make it to that side of the game and then gain the trust of people who aren't there. It might even take more trust of a black person than, a white person.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cause like, nigga, what did you have to do?
I mean, well, Al Sharpton went through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Being jailed. Didn't he end up like Guantanamo Bay or something like that? I think.
Oh wow, I didn't know about that.
It was like he got jailed in some kind of crazy country and it led to Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton getting him or something like that.
I gotta read his book. I know you mentioned it before. Al Sharpton's an interesting dude.
Yeah, he always knew he was going to be a preacher. He he would make a pulpit with all of his teddy bears and he would preach to him at like the age of like 5.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sure being James Brown's tour manager didn't help. I mean, didn't hurt either.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Now since he doesn't have the Politics Nation every day now and only on the weekends, I wonder what he does now to fill that.
I mean, he has his radio show.
He does so much shit.
Yeah, it's like that's not going to. I mean, that's probably like the least of his endeavors. I
don't know about that, man. I mean, apparently based on what Pastor Manning has been saying about him and his financial difficulties, he needs that money.
I mean, that's a whole other story. Like, and that's something I meant to ask you is, do you actually think Pastor Manning had any type of influence in that decision of him not being on every day?
But when all that stuff happened, I was like, this isn't going to work. And then when it happened, I'm like, when like that one little restaurant that no one even knows about said that they would stop supporting MSNBC, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck's going on right now. The thing is, though, I'm still not too sure to believe it or not. But the thing is, remember that he was invited along with like a whole bunch of other black pastors to talk to Donald Trump.
Pastor Manning?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
Nah, I've been trying to keep up with him, but
well, no, I mean it was like a whole bunch of them, like it was like hundreds of them, but
yeah, I remember that. I didn't know Pastor Manning was part of that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he got to talk to Donald Trump for like a little bit.
Wow.
And so when I saw that, because you know, of course, he had like what's her? I can't think of his woman's name. That mistress. I think it's his mistress or whatever.
Oh, what's her name? Hold on, it's a crazy ass name. Oh man, her name is like, not Providence. Oh, I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, they were taking pictures and everything, and he was like whispering Donald Trump's ear and shit. And so when I saw that, and then apparently it was like a private thing with a whole bunch of black pastors. I'm like, maybe he did have something to do with it, because he really pushed the whole snitching thing. And no one really has done that yet, and it seems like for whatever reason people really don't talk about it. And it's probably because of this, you know, that what does Rush Limbaugh say, the regime that halts it all.
I mean, it's interesting, like when you look at situations like during, and then when you look at them in hindsight, because it kind of reminds me of the whole 50 Cent and Ja Rule situation. And like now, you know, Ja Rule's been doing various interviews over the past year or two, and he says, you know, 50 came out, but Ja Rule was already going through the situations with Murder Inc. being investigated by the feds and all that. So his hands were kind of tied, and then 50 Cent was able to come through and make it look like he was doing all this type of stuff, but was it really him that led to his demise? So like, was Al Sharpton already on his way out, and then Pastor Manning happens to come up like this, and now that Al Sharpton's gone, does it look like a victory?
That's true. But then, I mean, but also if you think about Ja Rule and where he was during his career, like what 316 was like his best selling album, right?
I believe so. Rule 316. But even after that, he still came back with some stuff.
Well, I mean, but the thing is though, he had like a 4 or 5 album run.
Yeah, he had a good run.
But 316 was like, you know, the height.
Yeah.
And then he had like 2 other albums that like they were cool, but they went platinum, and that was like pretty much that. Then he clapped back literally.
Yeah.
And then 50 Cent just kind of killed him.
Yeah, 50 Cent, Eminem, the whole regime.
Yeah, so I think also in the midst of like the feds, you know, Ja Rule was kind of like, you know, just kind of going out anyway. And the thing about looking at even at like Rick Ross and 50 Cent, you know, Rick Ross was coming up and 50 Cent was pretty much dying anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because 50 Cent put his all into Rick Ross. I mean, he did everything that he could to demolish Rick Ross, and Rick Ross still came up. But I do think that, you know, we've had this conversation before. It was that fucking Lex Luger beat.
Oh yeah.
And BMF and MC Hammer, because if it wasn't for those 2 songs, Rick Ross would be done.
Yeah, but now it's kind of weird, like how he just like no one doesn't exactly care right now.
But what's crazy is I think 50 Cent's new mixtape, the Kanan mixtape, was like the number 1 mixtape on that Piff. That shit was kind of hot.
Well, but now he's doing like Miley's now and shit.
50 Cent?
Yeah, remember that song that
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that.
I mean, he said even on High all the time, he did that song, but he don't smoke weed.
I don't believe that. He probably does every now and again, and he admitted that he does drink every so often.
Yeah, I mean, after he got the effing vodka deal, I mean, even when he was talking about it, it's almost like he didn't want to promote drinking, but he's making money off of it. So he was like, you know, preaching the whole drinking moderation. It's cool with moderation and stuff like that, because 50 is very about his health. I mean, 50 Cent seems like somebody who reads self-help books all day and tries to like really apply them to his life.
He probably does. I can see that.
And like, you know, he came out with the Formula 50 book on, you know, working out and getting your body right and all that. And, you know, the 50th law. And, you know, he's really into that whole, I guess, optimization type thing that Joe Rogan always talks about.
Yeah, that shit seems so inhuman though. Like, I just don't.
I mean, if you want to be that type of, you know, have the type of success, that's what you have to do.
No, I'm just talking about, you know, going into that freezer, cryotherapy.
Oh yeah.
For like 4 seconds.
You know, actually, I actually listened to a Skeptoid podcast about how that's actually not it actually doesn't really have the benefits that they say it does. And that, what it does for you, like the guy basically said, like, something about how the extreme cold does something for your endorphins, and it can do certain things in terms of alleviating pain and all that, but you can get the same benefits from